So I think viewability, fraud, visibility, they're all hot topics at the moment and becoming more so as advertisers ask more questions about where their ads are appearing and so on. And it's a particularly important subject for audience on demand because our proposition has always been to really buy within the premium space. And for us, premium means the type of inventory we're buying, the fact that it's pre-roll and not in banner. And so it was a natural extension for us to add the reassurance around visibility and making sure that everything is brand safe and the ads are appearing in the right sort of content, to create a partnership as we have done with Atricity, part of Indico. I feel that we've had a few years now where many companies have been allowed to deliver ads saying that they're pre-roll ads and they turn out to be in banner ads, not being clear about where things are appearing. And in the video space, there are a lot of big video networks. So you know you're buying the video networks and you know you're buying on certain sites to a point, but you don't get the full picture. So in actual fact, whether it's video or display, this is a major topic for us. And we wanted to continue our theme of VVQ Verified, which is really reassurance for our advertisers, to create this partnership to help advertisers feel secure about where they're advertising.
So, Marco, notwithstanding your own network and what you guys do, which is, as you mentioned, premium focused, how pervasive is this fraud thing, do you think?
I think the fraud side of things is, as we all know, is a difficult one for us to be able to identify. I think there's a lot of headlines about how many ads are not seen, how many ads are seen, 50% of ads in display apparently aren't seen. There's a lot of big facts and figures thrown around. My concern is how well that they are researched and the fact that there are so many companies doing this research. That to me is a fundamental issue of the whole viewability debate. You know, one company, an advertiser could run one company that tells them that 50% of their ads were in view, and they could use another company that will tell them 70% of their ads are in view. And so how does one know, exactly the right direction to go? So I think there is a problem. I think companies have been allowed to get away with delivering ads that aren't necessarily in view, or perhaps the idea of click fraud or any of these sort of major topics. But I believe that there's great impetus now behind cleaning those up, and I think it's just important that we focus on doing that. We're seeing the increased maturity around programmatic video, and I think the three areas are, one we've just been talking about. I think the idea of viewability is now a big topic within video, and making sure that it's brand safe. So a lot more techniques and technologies coming into play to make sure that a company's claims are what they say they are, because I think that's a vital part of it. Creative solutions, video is becoming, I think there was an area of programmatic video that you couldn't get the budget because we couldn't do the sort of creative solutions. So whether that is skins around the video player, social sharing, some of these different areas. And we're in Audience on Demand in particular are working with companies to help us now deliver against that. So some of the most creative advertisers that we have in the agencies can now find solutions through programmatic as well. So that's a big shift for us, because that will help in terms of advertisers moving, I think, more towards programmatic. The last area is the inventory itself. I mean, the number of companies getting involved. AOD recently had a publisher day with lots of the major publishers, and the appetite is clearly there now. And in fact, we were with some of our agency partners who could see how these companies are now reshaping their strategies towards programmatic, which is exciting. And of course, you've got all the major broadcasters that are now working within the programmatic space. So we've filled in many of the gaps now in terms of the inventory, the quality of what we're doing, and we'll continue to see increased shifts of spend. There's been recently some big headlines about, mainly in the US, of the big companies that have joined the programmatic ecosystem. And if I'm honest, I think when I read the headlines and when I read the text where it says, because of buyer pressure, you know, we felt this was the right thing to do. I'm always a bit disappointed that some of these big companies were not ahead of the curve rather than sort of following along in its wake. But it's exciting that they've joined. I think it's really important for the, you know, the programmatic area that these companies join. But I think we're mirroring what happened with digital as a whole, right? If you go back to 2000 when I started in digital, digital was this sort of little thing at the end of a presentation that no one really took that seriously. Over time, as it gathered momentum, it gathered more importance. And then eventually we've stopped really talking about digital as a channel. We can't put it in a bucket. And I think programmatic and RTB is exactly the same. You know, it's in the momentum stage right now. But soon we won't be able to sort of isolate it as something separate. It will just be everything, you know, whether it's how the TV ads are delivered, the outdoor, the radio, already many companies working in programmatic radio. So I think, you know, we're just seeing some of the gaps being filled in, whether it's inventory or agency side. I think the advertisers, are, first of all, there have always been advertisers that have wanted to do elements of their work themselves. So I know it's big headlines for people, but many advertisers have done big direct deals with some of the biggest media owners and publishers. So, you know, at some level, it's always been thus. I think where we talk about true advertiser taking everything in-house and doing it themselves, I think it is also, we're not seeing very much of that at all. What we are seeing is perhaps advertisers working directly with DSPs or with other managed services to sort of talk about it as if they are running it themselves. What they're really saying is they're maybe not using an agency or a trading desk, but that is different to doing it themselves. And I think there will always be advertisers that will do that. I think one of the great things about working with an agency or a trading desk, you know, depending on the discipline, is that we can do things at scale and we get a whole breadth of inputs and insights from everything we're doing across lots of different sectors. Obviously, when you're working within one advertiser, you're very focused and influenced by the company you work in. So I feel like, yeah, there's going to be space for advertisers to do it themselves. On balance, I think most advertisers, as long as they can get the right agreements in place, see the benefits of working with a group that's able to bring in lots of different influences and can do things at scale.